Is the moral of every tragedy, murder, slaughter, battle, absurdity. We are animals, yet this truth is a heresy, a weakness, an ignoble admission, a spiritual fracture in the ridgeline of our architecture, because we cannot possibly be what we are.
At the viewing, waiting for Uncle Burton's body suddenly to sputter and lurch to life the way his old tractor did each spring. I know he is watching me. When I turn on the tool shed's bare bulb swinging by that ancient cord that disappears up into the dark rafters of that cathedral of bent nails, rust, and kerosene, he is whispering in the bottomland. It is not just the wind in the pines, but him. Sometimes I can hear him walking in the cornfield just a few rows in. Though I have never parted the stalks to look, I am wholly sure that it is him. Uncle Burton had found a lot of artifacts on his land, especially near the river. Old Catawba pottery sherds and arrowheads. When we were children, Uncle Burton would walk in the woods with my brother and me. He would tell us that he could hear the Indians singing in the woods near the river. That it wasn't just the water and the rocks, but voices. That he was wholly sure it was the singing of the first people to live there. Maybe a week before he died, I was out at the old farm and Uncle Burton brought up the voices. He asked me if I remembered him telling me about those Indians singing. Sure I did. My brother did too. Well, said Uncle Burton, they're still there, but if they build that goddamn highway, won't nobody be able to hear them, maybe not ever again. The old place had been renovated, rewired, but the ghost was still there. In the timbers, his voice a loose piece of tin conversing with the westerly wind. I put the key in the tractor's ignition, but it is his hand turns it. Reaching into the Oliver's old toolbox his arm reaches into, helping me search out a block of wood, a length of chain. It was a good thing Uncle Burton had died a year ago happy. Instead of seeing the bottomland dissected by the bypass, the stream choked with debris, its special power silenced by an oily film, the soccer fields replacing tobacco, the chemicals green the turf, run off into the groundwater so they still get cancer, those kids, their parents doing all that driving. Used to be a night like this was filled with croakers and lightning bugs. Now it's nothing but brake lights and car horns. If man had been meant to drive, God would have made him with his middle finger eternally extended. It was a good thing Uncle Burton had died a year ago happy. Train engineers don't even blow their own whistles anymore. Sure, it's safer. The computer never forgets. Maybe all that safety will give us space to spin yarns like vibrant, transcendent spiders, orbs of energy. Or maybe we will just atrophy in a casing that lacks sweet sap, nourishment. The power company murdered the mammoth oak in the pasture, paved it over. I sold the last of the cows and became wholly convinced Uncle Burton had died happy a year ago.
Sam and Larry sat on the creek bank, fishing poles cradled between their legs, hooks dropped expertly in the last pool before the creek dumps its crawdads and catfish into the muddy Henry Fork. Their daddy maintained a vague interest from his beer cooler seat. Just remember, boys, that water is all there really is. Creeks creating bulging rivers, Rivers hijacked into sailboat lakes. Try to do it without it for a while, and you'll see, he said, turning the long neck bud up, then whistling a quirky little tune into the bottle's mouth. Sam and Larry were focused on the bobbing floats, the delightful syrupy taste of the rare cokes that Daddy had brought for this afternoon when he had taken them out of school for a little fishing. They already knew before the sun sank over the old man Goodman's willows that they may have to throw him into the bed of the pickup, and already, inside the fisherman's silence that they struggled to maintain, an argument was growing over who would get to drive. Rorschach in the briar patch, the brush pile, the copperhead coiled against a pine stump, the brown grassy tendrils reaching over the field trail. Rorschach in the waltzing barn shadows, the dewy cornflower bloom, the black widow crouched beneath the busted cinder block. Rorschach in the diadem of the fire pit, the fat, fresh mongrel turd, the frenetic song of the blue flies arriving. Rorschach in the blackbirds darting through sunlight, and the brown rabbit nosing the sweetgrass under the pulpwood trailer. Rorschach in the expanding pupil, the ginger's green iris, the uncle and aunt of his gait, stirring the morning's armor. Rorschach.
I saw one of them today. He was getting into the car at Lowe's. Here he comes. Shoulder-length hair, slick back, skin tan like leather, olive green muscle shirt and camouflage pants, leather brogans. I'm glad I'm getting into the car already. He doesn't have time.